The most reliable luxury SUV ever sold for under $20,000 is sitting on a used lot right now with a price drop sticker on the windshield because the salesperson would rather move something newer. It will outlast everything parked next to it. Walk through any used car lot across the country and they are sitting in the back row gathering dust, marked down twice already because nobody wants to touch them. The salesperson is pointing everyone towards some off-lease crossover with an extended warranty he is quietly hoping they will take home. 24 years of turning wrenches teaches you a lot that a showroom floor never will. The 3 luxury SUVs on this list are the ones that actually hold up when the miles pile on. These are vehicles that end up in the shop at 180,000 miles, needing nothing more than fresh oil and a quick conversation. And every one of them was put together in a way that makes daily driving easier for older folks, without broadcasting that fact to every car in the parking lot. These are the luxury SUVs that seniors can step into without wincing, see out of without twisting their whole upper body, and hold on to for 10 years without a single invoice that sends them reaching for the phone in a cold sweat. The third one here is solid. The second one is exceptional. But the first one on this list is the vehicle that would get handed over without a second thought, keys and all. Here is exactly why. Acura RDX, second generation. The third choice here is a luxury SUV that floats under the radar entirely because Acura has spent decades doing a poor job of telling people what they actually built. They put out genuinely excellent machines and then market them as if they are embarrassed about it. That gap between quality and visibility is exactly why this vehicle is such an opportunity right now. Picture a retired school teacher, 71 years old, fresh off a knee replacement, whose old Subaru was becoming a real problem every time she had to get in and out. Her daughter was steering her toward a brand new compact SUV under the assumption that reliability meant buying new. The budget was $16,000. After an hour on the phone and a few minutes on a listing site, a 2016 Acura RDX showed up 64,000 miles, all-wheel drive, leather interior, heated seats for $15,400. She drove it home that weekend. 6 months later, she came back for an oil change and mentioned that her knee had not given her a single moment of grief climbing in or out. That is not a sales pitch. That is a straight report from a real person. Here is what makes this generation of the RDX worth paying close attention to. Acura dropped the J35 Y6 V6 into this thing, a 3.5-litre naturally aspirated port-injected engine. Those details carry real weight. Naturally aspirated means no turbocharger sitting there waiting to fail somewhere around 90,000 miles. Port-injected means none of the carbon buildup that clogs the intake valves of practically every German competitor running direct injection. This engine belongs to the same family that powers the Honda Pilot and Honda Odyssey, both of which regularly cruise past 250,000 miles on fluid changes alone. Behind it sits a 6-speed conventional automatic transmission, not a CVT, not a dual-clutch setup, but a proper torque converter automatic that Honda had been refining for years before this thing ever rolled off the line. In decades of shop work, exactly 2 of these transmissions have ever failed, and both came in with the original factory fluid still inside at 180,000 miles. That is not an engineering problem. That is a neglect problem. For older drivers specifically, the seating position does a lot of quiet work. The RDX puts the seat 23 inches off the ground, that sweet middle ground where you are not hauling yourself up like you were boarding a truck and not collapsing down into a low sedan. The doors swing out close to 80 degrees, which means someone with a stiff hip or a bad back gets full clearance to move at their own pace. The greenhouse design on this generation is generous. Visibility in every direction is strong, because Acura had not yet started building the thick, rising belt lines that have turned newer SUVs into fishbowls. Current pricing on a 2016 RDX under 80,000 miles runs somewhere between $14,000 and $17,000 depending on trim and location. A same year BMW X3 starts at $19,000 to $24,000 and tends to clock around $2,800 in repair costs within the first 2 years of ownership. RepairPal puts the RDX at around $497 per year in maintenance. The X3 lands at $1,034. That is not an approximation, that is a straight doubling. When going to look at one, run through this before making an offer. Check the power tailgate. Some earlier examples have a weakening motor around 100,000 cycles, which runs about $380 to fix and makes a decent negotiating point. Listen to the VTEC system at idle once the engine is warm. A smooth, even sound is correct. Ticking that does not clear up after warm-up usually means someone ran it low on oil at some point. Walk away from that one. On all-wheel drive models, pull the rear differential fluid. Acura recommends a change every 30,000 miles, and almost nobody follows through. If it looks like dark coffee, budget $150 to service it right away. GX 460. The second pick on this list might be the most thoroughly engineered luxury SUV ever put on sale in America that most people outside a narrow crowd of loyal buyers have never seriously considered. That claim holds up. Think about a retired engineer in his late 60s, the type of person who follows every answer with 3 more questions, coming in with a 2008 Mercedes GL 450 and a quote for $4,200 to fix the air suspension. He wanted a second opinion on whether it was worth repairing. The answer was to sell it that afternoon and pick up a Lexus GX 460 instead. He looked at that suggestion the way someone looks at a wrong turn. 2 weeks later, he came back. In a 2014 GX 460, he found for $24,500 with 91,000 miles on it. That truck now has 168,000 miles. What it has required in that time: 1 battery, brakes, tyres, and a wheel bearing at 152,000 miles. Every January, a text message arrives with the number representing what the Mercedes would have cost by comparison. Last year, that number was $7,800. The reason this thing performs the way it does starts with the 1UR-FE engine, a 4.6-litre naturally aspirated V8 that uses both port and direct injection together, which sidesteps the carbon buildup issue that plagues every other direct injected V8 on the market. It runs a timing chain. There is no turbocharger. There is no complicated electronic system installed to be clever and then brake. Toyota engineered this motor for markets where the nearest service centre might be 1,000 miles away, and the only tools available are the ones in a barn. That is not a figure of speech. It pairs with a 6-speed automatic transmission that Toyota built and then effectively left alone for 15 years because there was nothing to improve. The transfer case runs full-time 4-wheel drive with a torsion center differential, which means no buttons, no modes, no decisions. It just works on any surface in any weather. For someone who wants to drive and not manage a vehicle, that matters enormously. From a comfort standpoint, the entry height on the GX is taller than the RDX, but Lexus put a running board on every model, and the door opening is wide enough to make the actual movement easy. Someone with a compromised back can sit down and then swing their legs in rather than having to contort to fit into a lower seat. The seats are heated, ventilated, and 10-way power adjustable. The steering wheel telescopes a full 4 inches. A 5.2 driver and a 6.4 driver can each find a position that actually fits them. RepairPal gives the GX 460 a 3.5 out of 5, which reads modestly until you understand that the rating is calculated using dealer labour rates, and that the actual frequency of repairs is among the lowest recorded for any luxury SUV ever measured. Published annual cost lands around $750, but real-world shop experience on more than a dozen of these vehicles puts the number closer to $400 a year at an independent shop. The probability of a major repair is 9%, half the segment average. Pricing on a 2014 to 2016 GX 460 under 100,000 miles runs between $24,000 and $30,000. That sounds significant until it sits next to a same-year Mercedes GLE at $22,000 to $28,000. That carries roughly $5,000 in repair costs over the following 3 years. For the inspection, verify the rear air suspension. The GX uses airbags on the rear axle only, and while they are reliable, slow leaks can develop around 130,000 miles. A replacement bag runs about $400 installed. Test the side-swinging rear door and check for sag, which signals a hinge that runs about $600 to replace. Get underneath and look for aftermarket lift hardware or any sign the vehicle has been used hard off-road. These trucks are more than capable of that use, but it adds wear to the suspension components. This one makes the most sense for anyone planning to keep one vehicle for 15 years or more, anyone pulling a boat or a camper, or anyone who genuinely wants the lowest possible chance of being stranded anywhere. The drawback is the fuel economy. 17 miles per gallon means a real gas bill if daily commutes are long, and it is a 192-inch vehicle, so parking in tight spaces takes some adjustment. Lexus RX 350, 3rd generation 2010, 2015. This is the one. The single vehicle recommended to more retired customers over a 24-year career than anything else on the market. The Lexus RX 350 from 2010 to 2015 is, by every measure tracked across shop records, the most senior-friendly, lowest-maintenance luxury vehicle ever built. There is a customer who bought a 2013 RX 350 inches, 2016 with 38,000 miles on it. She is 78 years old now. The vehicle has 142,000 miles. In 9 years of ownership, the total repair bill has come to $1,890, and that includes brakes, 2 batteries, and a window regulator. That breaks down to $210 per year. No luxury SUV in existence touches that number. The engine is the 2GR-FE, a 3.5-litre, naturally aspirated, port-injected V6 running a timing chain. It is widely considered one of the most dependable V6 engines ever put into production. Toyota installed it in the Camry, the Avalon, the Highlander, the Sienna, and multiple Lexus models. It exists in millions of vehicles around the world, with a well-documented history of reaching 300,000 miles on original internals. 2 of these engines have been torn down for inspection at over 280,000 miles, and both came back within factory cylinder wear tolerances. The transmission is Toyota's U660E 6-speed automatic. There are online owner communities posting 400,000-mile examples still running original fluid. The fluid change still needs to happen. The point is just that this powertrain has proven itself beyond any reasonable doubt. What makes it specifically right for older drivers is the seating position. The RX 350 puts the seat at 21 inches off the ground. Lexus calls it chair height seating, and it earns that description. There is no climbing involved. There is no dropping involved. You sit. The doors open wide. The door sills are low. The floor is flat. The steering wheel telescopes and tilts. The mirrors are large. The blind spots are smaller than almost any other SUV in this size class because Lexus prioritized seeing over styling when they designed this generation. The ride is tuned specifically for comfort. It moves over rough pavement in a way that German SUVs in the same class simply do not. For someone managing arthritis, a sensitive back, or just a general preference not to feel every road imperfection, the difference is real and immediate. The cabin is quiet enough to hold a normal phone conversation at highway speed without raising your voice. Current pricing on a 2013 to 2015 example under 90,000 miles runs $17,000 to $22,000. A comparable Audi Q5 from the same years lists at $16,000 to $20,000. Similar money for an SUV that will need a timing chain tensioner job at 100,000 miles, running about $2,800. The RX 350 will need an air filter. RepairPal puts the annual maintenance cost at $57, the lowest figure recorded for any mid-size luxury SUV. The probability of a major repair is 9% compared to a 19% segment average. The RX 350 is statistically half as likely to need serious work as the average luxury SUV. Half. Before buying, check the dashboard on 2010 to 2013 models, some developed cracking in hot climates. Toyota extended the warranty and most have been corrected, but confirm it. Listen for any whine from the power steering. The electric assist motor can wear at high mileage and costs around $700 to replace, which is negotiating material. Check the rear hatch struts, they lose strength around 100,000 miles and the hatch starts to drop on its own. A replacement pair costs about $80 and installs easily. The best buying tip: find a single owner example from an older driver and look at the wear on the driver's seat bolster. If it is barely marked, that vehicle has been treated carefully. Who should buy it? Almost any older driver looking for one vehicle to hold on to without worry. If joint discomfort is a factor, the seat height alone justifies the price. If two people share the driving and have different builds, the adjustability handles it. Who should skip it? Anyone needing 3 rows should look at the Highlander, which uses the same engine. Anyone towing more than £3,500 should look at the GX 460. Anyone wanting a sharp, sporty feel will not find it here. The RX drives like a quiet, cushioned room on wheels, and for most older drivers, that is exactly the point. The Acura RDX is the budget-friendly option with engineering that punches well above its price. The Lexus GX 460 is the built-for-anything tank that will outlast almost anything else on the road. The Lexus RX 350 is the benchmark, the vehicle that every other entry on this kind of list gets measured against. Any one of them gives an older driver a genuine luxury experience, without the luxury shop bills. Any one of them will still be running long after vehicles that cost twice as much have been traded in or broken down. Skip the German lease returns. Skip the new car payment on a depreciating asset. Find one of these 3. Pay for a pre-purchase inspection from a trusted independent mechanic and drive it without thinking about it for the next decade.